Hello, magic makers. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Taurus is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this reading is for you. A transmission through the Serpent Gate, a page in the Codex, and perhaps a message you were meant to remember. Before we begin, please light the fire and hit the like button. Every like you leave is a torch lit along the spiral road. Every comment is a sigil etched into the vault of echoes. And if this message resonates, consider subscribing and joining our journey through the temple. If there is anything you wish for me to hold in light or carry into the temple with you, a prayer, a protection, or an intention, speak it below. Now, these readings are not predictions, they are transmissions, and I am merely the messenger. The meaning is yours to uncover. Open the temple within and listen for what echoes back. Because the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And look at that fool. Wow, very cool. I think that you're kind of stepping into a very playful energy. Okay, I think that you're someone who is kind of you're getting a fresh start. I feel like this 9-9 portal that we just went through really gave you a clean slate for something in some aspect of your life, okay? I don't think that it's completely a return to 0 point, but in some aspect, I feel like you're kind of starting fresh. Clean slate, blank canvas, what are you gonna paint, you know? I'm getting the impression that you're a very loyal person, okay? I think that you tend to stay around when other people are scattering, okay? I think when you choose to walk away from something, you don't do that sort of haphazardly or impulsively. I think it's a very well thought out decision. It's a long process of deliberation and consideration for you. And you don't act impulsively, okay? So since we have the Fool here, tells me that this was something that really was necessary for you. You walked away from something, you stepped out of something, you put an end to something, and now here we are with kind of wide open possibilities, okay? I think you're somebody that feels free, okay? There's a lightness to you right now. There's a playfulness. There's just it's almost like you're seeing the world in living color again, yeah? I feel like you stepped out of the gray world. Now we're on the spiral road. Let's see where your journey is taking you. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. First card we get, abundance. Yeah, of course. Okay, abundance. We have a hermit. Yep, we have, an emperor. We have an ace of swords. We have a queen of pentacles. We have the eon. Wow, very nice. That's a doorway. That is a portal. Yeah, we have an ace of cups. You have a princess of swords. You have a prince of wands. Very good energy here. Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like you are somebody that stays loyal. You have a very steadfast, persevering energy to you. Okay? I think that there was some kind of, I almost feel like there was some kind of a situation that you got very comfortable with. It became kind of like your refuge, but it was also like a cage. Because I feel like it kind of is related to this emperor energy. It was almost that you, for a time, you gave some of your power to somebody else. It's like you put yourself under the protection of somebody else. So it felt very, it felt like a refuge. It felt comfortable. It felt safe. But it also felt controlling. It also felt like a cage. It was holding you back. Giving somebody else your power in that way, or letting somebody else make decisions, or whatever that was. We'll talk about that. Okay, I feel like a lot of energy is flowing toward you now, through really consistent efforts, daily rituals, small grounded efforts. Okay, I think there is. I kind of feel like you have a strong connection with with food or with smells that I think I don't know, I kind of feel like The Fool now is experiencing the world for the first time. You know, it's like roses smell more fragrant to you now. Food cooking in the kitchen is just, it's such an experience now, whereas before, in the gray world, nothing, all colors kind of looked dim. Nothing tasted all that vibrant. Nothing smelled all that strongly or that sweetly, you know? So I think you're someone who's very tied into with your senses. I think that's a typical Taurus kind of thing. You're very aware of your senses, your sense of taste. I feel like it's come back again. I feel like suddenly food tastes more rich to you, you know? Colors seem brighter, and music even sounds more harmonious than it ever did. Yeah, that to me is the Fool. Kind of just out in the field, just like, you know, running after butterflies and like smelling flowers, and it's just kind of like, it's an immersive experience, your life, yeah. Anyway, I feel like there has been some kind of a delayed reward that's finally landing in your lap, okay? I think that you're continuing with this very stable, very steady, very patient energy, but you're realizing that your patience does not mean passivity. You don't have to put all of your, you don't have to give your power to any other authority. Okay, so I feel like you're kind of reclaiming some of your emperor energy from someone else, okay? The Three of Cups, gratitude, appreciation, love, abundance. I want you as a piece of homework, right? Write 3 gratitudes. Do it before bed. Before you go to sleep, write 3 things for that day that meant something to you, that you're grateful for the abundance. You know, what felt abundance, what felt abundant in your life today. Okay, so when you go to bed tonight, it's kind of our Queen of Pentacles practice here. Reflect back over your day and name 3 things that you're very grateful for. Maybe one can be a challenge, one can be a lesson, one can be a reward. And be grateful for all 3. Okay? And either write it down or just think about it as you go to sleep at night. Okay? Try it. Anyway, I feel like you're somebody who is moving into an energy where you are like decluttering your life a little bit. I almost feel like with the Fool that you sort of like, you cleared off your desk, or you cleaned out the basement, blank slate, and now you're going to be very deliberate about what you put in that basement. Okay, we have a kind of a Virgo energy here. I feel like you've released a lot of clutter. Okay, and you're really valuing intentional space now. It's kind of I feel a kind of a feng shui energy with you. But I feel that maybe this has to do with a living situation, or even a relationship, or some kind of dynamic where your life was being dictated by somebody else. Somebody else was picking the furniture and the wallpaper, right? Somebody else was decorating the house, but now it's all up to you. Okay? I think that you're anchoring this change in your life through beauty, through simplicity, and through a kind of organization, and through an immersive. It's kind of like the Fool. The Fool knows what kind of environment it wants to live in. You know, you get to choose what you surround yourself with. Your pets, your plants, your people. Yeah. The art on the wall. I feel like you're putting up different pictures. Yeah. And I think that you're finding value in this kind of a fresh art. Maybe you moved to a different house. I don't know. Maybe you got a new apartment. Maybe you got a new office at work or something like this. I feel like you intentionally put an end to something that I think you're stepping away from a bit of a tyrant. You're freeing your energy. And now you're kind of free to create whatever environment you want to have around you. What does the Fool want? What kind of flowers do you want to have on your dining room table? You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. Because maybe this person back here didn't like flowers. No flowers. Not allowed to have any personal effects on your desk at work, right? And now you're kind of in a situation where you get to decide what you surround yourself with. You know, I like that. Let's draw the hidden key from the Codex, the unseen cipher, the one truth yet unrevealed. This is a card pulled at random, a fragment of the Codex beyond our known spread. This represents the factor infinite and unknown, what the Watchers have not yet allowed us to see. We're going to set it down right here with big red ant right on top. We won't look at that hidden key until the end of the transmission. But when we do, it will bring all the threads together. It'll confirm the prophecy, and it'll close the current page of the Codex. But if you feel the pulse of intuition, if the dove current is whispering to you, tell me what you sense. Leave a comment. What do you think the hidden key will reveal? You don't have to name the card. Name the energy. What does it feel like that's going to be? Okay? What is the message it's going to give us? You don't have to know the cards. It'll click at some point during the reading when we say, I know what energy we need here. Okay? It could be we need another emperor, but this time the emperor will be you, not somebody else. Yeah. So as we look around the room, we do see the 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana energies. And these are kind of down and on the left, right? This is kind of the starting point. This is something that I think you did already. You know, this is something that kind of is where we're coming from. This is the energy that's fresh into your life right now. I feel like the Fool has let go of something very serious. This is kind of a dominating energy. It may be like a narcissistic energy. It may be a tyrant. It may be some kind of an authority thing. The Emperor is very disciplined and very serious. The Fool is not, right? The Emperor is the fortified ego driving the car. The Fool is the dog hanging its tongue out the window, you know, feeling the breeze and just like chasing after butterflies on the grass and stuff, while the Emperor is very serious. So it may not be that you are leaving a tyrant, that you escaped some kind of a situation where you were being dominated by another person. It could be. Maybe it is very literal for you. It could also be that you've stopped taking yourself so seriously. You know, that you've stopped having so much discipline. You've learned to let go a little bit, you know. You've learned to just have a little bit more fun. I wonder if this is even a transition that you made, either choosing to retire or choosing to take a more kind of exploratory or a more curious road in your life. Okay, because the Emperor kind of knows who they are. They know what they want. They're locked in on a particular path. They're in control of the empire, and that's their life, right? The Fool is kind of out here, the Hermit and the Fool, trying to get the Ace of Swords. It's like the Fool has left this life and is searching for a new sense of direction, searching for a new quest. Right? That's what it is. The Hermit has walked away from something, and the Fool is the innocent knight without a quest. The Ace of Swords is your new quest. Okay? It is your new quest. And I think that this is going to pay off very, very nicely for you. Whatever this new quest is, I think it's going to lead to your future self being very wealthy. Okay? It's part of our Queen of Pentacles energy. The abundance is flowing in. This is oh happy day. Oh happy day. Yeah. Of course, the Hermit going a different way. Maybe the Hermit going from Emperor to Hermit is kind of saying like, this is me at the height of my career, and this is now me retired. Okay, so you could be experiencing a life transition or a milestone or a rite of passage in your life and in terms of your career or something like that, right? This doesn't have to be tied to anything specific. It may be tied to simply the 9-9 portal, right? Went through that doorway and now you're free. Now you're ready to kind of choose your own adventure. Find that Ace of Swords and begin this quest. Your future self is going to be very, very happy. I think you're going to be happy on this journey, knowing that you're doing something that is very beneficial to the future you. Yeah. So anyway, we've got our majors. Yeah, we've got fire, water, air, and earth. Okay. So with the fire and earth here, with the Aries energy into our Queen of Pentacles, I feel like the old life that you were living, you realized that you weren't going to be making your future self very happy. You know, maybe we start with this. What are we leaving behind? Emperor energy. Well, you could be leaving a very kind of tyrannical relationship where your energy was dominated, where somebody else was calling the shots and driving the car. Okay. It could be that you're leaving a life or a way of life that was too structured, too ordered, too rigid, too determined, predetermined, too routine, too habitual. Okay. You could be leaving a life that, or a way of life that had certain goals that you no longer resonate with, goals that you no longer align yourself with. Maybe it's saying that, you know, you realize that you don't want these things anymore. Money, power, maybe status, maybe, you know, what it takes to get those things. In other words, the fire and earth that we see here, the manifestation. You could be walking away from something that you realize your future self wasn't really going to be happy with the goals that you had here. The things that you wanted here, the things you were after, things you were trying to create. Okay? Maybe realizing that they weren't going to result in a very pleased future self. Okay? As the Queen of Pentacles looks back on the past. Okay? Looking at the long and winding road that you took to get where you're going to be. You want your future self to be very pleased. You want your future self to be happy with the choices that you've made. Okay, so there is a split here. There is something that has changed between this and this. The path you were on before is no longer your path. You've set out in a new direction. Okay. That's going to require new fire. Okay. So it's you're not, and see, look, we have fire, fire, and fire over here. Right? The Emperor, Aries, fire, the Eon, pure fire, the Prince of Wands, obviously, is fire, right? So in the three corners of our pyramid, of our triangle, we have this, you know, kind of equilateral triangle going on. You've got fire. The old fire going through this doorway of fire where it is purified, and then it is committed and loyal to something else, you see. So you're not getting rid of the fire, you're not getting rid of ambition. What you're doing is you're transmuting your ambition into something that is more pure. You have the clarity in thought and purity in your heart. And that's then kind of, you know, it's like your ambition is very powerful. I mean, you're capable of doing anything you want in life, right? Going through the purification process in the heart and the mind is kind of taking all that force and fire, all that ambition, and transmuting it or applying it toward something that resonates more with you. So you're not getting rid of ambition. You still have goals. You still want to accomplish things. Let's say you still want to get the money, right? I think that you're striving after those goals with a different heart-mind configuration, you know. So it feels to me that your fire, your ambition, your authority is going through a purification process. Okay? And then it's going to keep going. So I like that. So it's not saying that your journey is over. It's not saying that you're no longer ambitious and that you're just going to be chasing butterflies and you don't care about the future. You don't have goals. No, you still have goals. But those goals are now kind of heart-centered goals. Okay? They're true destiny, true like soul mission goals. Yeah, so something has definitely changed in your life. The Fool, of course, is your station. This is where you are on the spiral road right now. I feel like you're at the beginning of a new segment of that spiral road. Okay, kind of we just went around once, and now there's something's changed. We're about to go around again. Okay, on a higher level. Okay, so it is kind of a starting over. It is kind of or maybe you're going to reinvent yourself. Maybe this is a big move. I think it's symbolized by something concrete in your life. So it's either the leaving of a job, leaving of a relationship, the closing of an old chapter in some way, moving to a new house or a new apartment or something, moving to a new town. Something has to be left behind to make room for whatever this new mission is going to be. Okay? And so I think that really a lot of these energies are true. I think you're leaving behind something that was kind of dictating your life for you, whether it was a person, a place, or a thing. I think that you are being less strict with yourself, that you are, you're transcending your ego in a way in order to purify that ego so that it can be of service to your higher order goals. Does that make sense? That's sort of what we see with the Emperor. The Emperor is the fortified ego. Going through this doorway of fire purifies the ego. So the ego can be then committed and loyal, right? Because you're steadfastly loyal. Can be loyal to, to something outside of itself. Yeah. So I feel like your goals are shifting in life. Yeah. And maybe this is, more impatience. Maybe this is more of a fast-paced life. And now the Fool is saying, I don't want that kind of a fast-paced life. I want to enjoy the scenery. I want to feel the abundance of life, right? That's been the obstacle here, the Three of Cups. The joy, the celebration, the resonance, the appreciation, the gratitude. Okay? I feel like it's sort of expressing what's in the heart. That's been the obstacle for you. Because I think in the Emperor life, we didn't have that. We had, these are the goals that I have. This is the life that I was supposed to lead, and these are the goals I'm supposed to have. And I don't know, we get that from our parents, maybe the work ethic, or the idea of not, the idea that we're not supposed to follow our heart in life. We're supposed to just kind of do what we're supposed to do. You get a job, you get the house, you get the car, you get the 2.5 kids or whatever, and you're good to go, right? That's the life. But you're saying, no, I want it to feel like my life, And so the Three of Cups is that battle. This is the force that's been pressing against you. This is now kind of seems like the challenge or the test for you, is the Fool kind of saying, I've got to do what resonates with me. And that Emperor didn't resonate with you. The person, the place, the thing, your attitude, your ego, whatever it was, you're saying that wasn't in my heart. That wasn't who I was. Maybe that's the job and that you had or the career that you had, and now you're saying, that's not me anymore. Okay? We're shedding the emperor robes. Now the Fool is just in their underclothes, We've gotten rid of that, gotten rid of the regalia of the Emperor. And now we're kind of looking for the right clothes that are going to fit us. And that's really it. The right, maybe the right persona. Maybe this is us reinventing ourselves. Maybe this is literally that you threw away your wardrobe and you're going to get some new clothes now. Maybe it's very literal, right? Becoming the person on the outside, living the life on the outside that matches what's on the inside. I almost let out a curse word because gosh darn it, I mean, that's important. Yeah. Now under the surface, the soul position, the Hermit. The Hermit is kind of that in-between kind of, the Hermit doesn't care what they look like, first of all. It doesn't care about the wardrobe. And in essence, the Hermit is wearing a cloak of invisibility. Okay? So it kind of feels like, first thing we do is we take off the Emperor's robe. We put on just it's almost like it's laundry day, right? You put all your clothes in the laundry to be washed, and you just wear whatever kind of sweatpants you got lying around. Whatever's left over from your normal wardrobe, you just put it on. while you go and do the laundry. The ego gets washed, or let's say gets baked over here in the oven rather than washed. If this were a hanged man, maybe we'd say the ego gets washed in the laundry, but this is more kind of, I don't know, dry cleaned or something perhaps. Steam cleaned. And then we sort of, then we start that path of restructuring and reformulating our life. But the hermit at first is the one that walks away from something, okay? This is something in your soul. This is what your soul knows. Getting in touch with that inner light, with that essence. Getting in touch with who you really are on the inside, your authentic self, and trusting in that wisdom. Trying to reconnect. Sometimes this is a card of meditation. So this is maybe even a stage in between. If this is an initiation or this is a life transformation, this is something that might be the in-between stage, right? From the emperor becoming the fool, or kind of the emperor returning to a pure state, pure essence state of fool, okay? Because the fool has kind of like, this is almost, what is it when the court jester gets to play king for a day or whatever? This is kind of like that, where the fool got to be the emperor for a while and now kind of just says, okay, I need to get away from that. Okay, I need to reconnect with what's really important. This is a stage of meditation. It's a stage of introspection. Okay, and it is definitely a choosing to sort of go invisible, to walk away from something. Okay, and it's kind of indicating that the emperor sometimes forgets who they are. Right? Sometimes our essence, sometimes our consciousness, we get lost in the ego. And we start identifying too much with the ego, right? So we forget that I'm not this ego. I'm something else, something more, right? The hermit is trying to connect with that something more and saying, I got to get away from the ego for a little bit. So this might even be like, first of all, I just got to live minimally. I got to do the least. I don't want to go overboard. I want to get my ego in check. I need to live a more austere life for a day or two, for a week or whatever, right? I don't need all the extra stuff because I want to get out of my ego for a few minutes so I can just reconnect with that divine energy. Yeah, so this might be meditation. I think this is a little bit of solitude. It's a little bit of a magical retirement. It could be literal retirement. But it's kind of like, you get home and you get to take off your work clothes. And for a minute there, you just have to try to you just want to sit quietly after work and try to come back to yourself as your energy, your aura slowly is able to separate itself from the persona of the work version of you. Does that make sense? And so you kind of just have to sit there and you have to reconnect with your body, reconnect with your heart and your mind, and let that old skin fall off. Let that costume leave. Let that persona sort of, be reabsorbed into your aura and achieve that state of purity and clarity for whatever is coming next in your life. You think about somebody who spends a long day at work, then they come home to be with their family. They need that transitional time to remove the old mask and remember who they are, and then you put on your next mask. Okay? Because you have to wear a mask. Okay? There's nothing wrong with the persona. We all have one, and our persona really takes on different shapes depending on who we're talking to. You have the work version of you, your emperor, and then you've got your other version of you, whatever else it is. But this, I think, is happening on a larger scale for you. Does that make sense? So I feel like the hermit is really spending enough time in order to let the emperor persona or the ego identification sort of diminish, okay, or lose its sharpness. So we come back to ourselves, and in that hermit mode, that's where you get the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. That's where you get the clarity. Okay? Since these two positions are very intimately connected in the dove and serpent spread, I feel like in your hermit mode, after you've left this, and you're spending this in-between time just with you, with the introspection, trying to get in touch with yourself, I think what you're doing is getting in touch with your heart. What does your heart really want? We're going to purify that heart. Okay? You're going to get in touch, not that the heart needs purification, you're going to get in touch with the pure heart. Okay? Getting back to the core beliefs and values, what really matters to you, what is really important to you, what is the life that you really truly want. Okay? What in life, what in this universe deserves your steadfast loyalty? Okay? That's what the hermit's trying to get in touch with. And doing that, right, the hermit getting in touch with the heart, then allows you that divine insight. Brings you up here to the giant position, your untapped power. This is the antenna on the top of your head. This is a clear mind. This is the hermit now who has gotten in touch with their pure heart and now is able to receive the divine signal and receive the instructions. It's a spiritual download. Receiving your divine orders. You know, receiving your mission. In that clarity, in that clear state, you're getting the fool, really. Your essence, your essential consciousness is getting the download blueprint instructions of what your next mission is, what your next quest is in life. Okay? Very often the emperor is that fortified adult ego that has to go around pleasing other people. You know, it's the first half of life, as it's sometimes called. From the time we're born to somewhere in our life, we're learning to, the way you succeed in life is by conforming to what other people expect of us. How do I have to behave for my parents to approve of me, for my teachers, my guardians, my friends, you know, the people at work, now my boss, now society, we're always like trying to conform, and our persona has to take shape based on what's coming into, you know, what expectations we're realizing about that other people have of us. Does that make sense? In other words, the world around you is shaping your persona and shaping your ego. The first half of life, right? And it's not, there's no chronological meaning to that. It's just kind of like the first section of life. Our persona is shaped by the expectations of the world around us. But now, because of whatever reason, because you just kind of put your foot down and said, I'm done, or there is a chronological life moment, maybe you're 65 and a half or whatever the heck it is, and you're retiring now. I don't know if that's even still a thing. I haven't even thought about that. It's getting close, though, for me. Or it's something, you know, that is kind of a milestone in your life, right? Where it makes you kind of realize that you're done letting the world around you dictate who you are. It's time now for you to decide what you want to be. Because now, in the second half of life, you get to choose your persona. You get to shape your mask. And you get to, you know, present yourself to the world the way you want to. It's not shaped by expectations coming in. Now it's shaped by you. And this is like a, oh boy, hot dog kind of moment, you know. And, you know, I would hope that eventually that kind of becomes an earlier kind of stage for humans, for us, you know, for people. Rather than having to wait until you're middle age or later to do that, I want it just to be like when you're born, you get to start doing that, you know. But I understand that we have to conform a little bit to the world around us in order to survive and fit in and kind of function within the world that we're in, okay? But anyway, you're at that point right now where you are tapping into your true self, your divine energy. And you're getting that signal about what it is you're really supposed to do. And what is it that your soul really wants. You have a very clear perception. Again, you've got that antenna on the top of your head. And these are light rays coming into your crown chakra. Okay? And those light rays is a divine essence coming from your true self. your higher self or God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it. It's coming from somewhere beyond ego. Okay? And it's that divine instruction. And it is now, this is where you are beginning to formulate the expression of your true self. Yeah. And again, this doesn't have to be a major life transition. This might just be taking place in one aspect of your life, one section of life. It could be at work, it could be at home, it could be at school. It could be across the board. This is a huge life change, So take it for you how it applies to your life. But now the Fool has the Excalibur. Now the Fool has the Knight, has the Ace of Swords, and becomes a Knight of the Holy Grail. This is the Holy Grail. Okay? Holy Grail is that core emotional, spiritual essence of you. And then, it's the pure heart. And then the pure mind, the lance here kind of, actually it'd be the Ace of Wands, but close enough. This is the clarity about your mission, how you are meant to live your life. And whatever that source is, wherever that comes from, I don't know. You can call it many things. But in your clarity, you are perceiving that. You're getting that divine download. In other words, now, the Fool knows what it should do. The Fool has a sense of direction. The Fool is ready to start making those choices that will very much please your future self. Okay? This is beautiful energy. Okay? So this is the Giant. This is that untapped power, that now that power is coming in. I feel like you're getting a lot of insight. You're downloading the map. Okay. In the future position, the Imago, this is who you're becoming. This is your higher self, your ideal form. Okay. And this is going to be unique to everybody. Basically, it is your future self looking at the past. Okay. Is it full of regret? Or is this somebody who's very, very happy? You got your pets, your plants, your people are all around you. And you're looking out over your life, you're reflecting upon your life, and you are very happy about the decisions you made. Looking at the long and winding road, talking about the spiral road, right? And we see the Fool with the spiral energy around it. Yeah, you see that? This is you beginning another rung on the spiral. And this is really like the completion of any given spiral, any given section of the spiral. Okay, this card represents the completion of that section and then looking back over that long and winding road. You're looking back at the spiral road that you've been on. And you're understanding it, you're appreciating it. How do you feel about it? See, the question of this card is, here you are in the future, in your material life. You're older, you're wiser, you have your physical stuff around you, your property, but are you happy? Okay? So your material life, we're talking about like your physical life, literally the roads that you travel, the things that you do, the places you go, the people you meet, the stuff you acquire, where you live, what you do, what you see around you, what you feel with your body, what you take in through the senses. Are you happy? How do you feel about it? Okay? This is water and earth. To me, this feels like somebody who is very, very satisfied with the life that they have. Okay? I think that whatever this move is, whatever this transition is that you're going through, and I think it has to do with the 9-9 portal. That energy is still lingering. I think that you've made the decision to be happy. You've made the decision that life should be a celebration. It should be joyous. We should be filled with gratitude and love. We should be happy that we're here. And of course, you're on a long, winding road. There's ups and downs. There's twists and turns. But at the end of it all, you're going to be very happy with the life that you lived. And even the life that you lived back here in Emperor mode. That's fine too. That was a big part of it. Maybe that was a very necessary stage. Maybe this was you working so hard at life that now the Fool can invent themselves however they want to. Now you can enjoy the good things in life. First you had to do this. Okay? It's very possible. There's nothing wrong with the Emperor. That fortified ego. Okay? Now we can look at this the other way and say that the Emperor represents some kind of a narcissist or a tyrant that was controlling you and controlling your life in a very real way. You got the heck away from this person, and you're going to be very happy that you did. You're going to be very happy that you decided to walk your own spiral road without that person. Okay? So that can be very literal. I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to tell me your story in the comments, okay? You are a magic maker. And the Fool, acquiring the Ace of Swords, is becoming a Knight of the Holy Grail, which basically is a magic maker, okay? On the path of the Serpent, we have that card of decisions, choices, passageways, portals, and doorways. You went through this doorway. This is your general energy. This is your persona. This is the way other people perceive you. Other people are looking at you and thinking, you completely changed your life. People are going to look at you and say, I don't even recognize you. You know? Well, you're not in your work clothes anymore, you know? Because this is kind of like there's the old life and there's the new life. There's a universe on this side and there's a new universe on this side. This is the passageway between the two. It is a rite of passage, okay? It's a milestone in life. It's a decision that you make to go through this purification where everything false gets burned away, okay? In a 9-9 portal, yeah, this is going to be the way. A fiery doorway of purification, okay? The life you had before is done. And those materials, like it's almost like you're recycling cans, you know? All that aluminum gets, it gets melted down or something, right? And it gets purified, cleaned. And then out of that material, you make new cans, you know? I used to love recycling cans with my parents as a kid, going with my dad. They had these big trailers behind the grocery store. I don't know if maybe it was Goodwill, these big, you know, big trailers. And you could take all your cans. We used to have, you know, garbage bags full of aluminum cans, and we'd take them there, and they'd weigh them, and we'd get a few bucks for them. But that's kind of what this card is talking about. Everything that came before, it's not pointless. It's not meaningless. It's not gone. It's just recycled. Okay? That ego that you had before, that Emperor experience, whether it was a person, a place, a thing, or it was your vibe or whatever, that's coming with you, but it's changing form. Okay? That aluminum isn't gone. Okay? It's just being cleaned up and it's going to be made into something else. So the Eon card is basically saying that the old universe has been crushed to dust. And out of that dust, you're going to make the new universe. So out of the remains of your old life, your old self, energetically, you're going to build the new self, the new life, the new persona. Okay? This was a definite decision that you made to put an end to the past and walk toward the future. Walking toward your Ace of Cups, you've decided to be a Knight of the Holy Grail. Rather than being just a listener in the gray world, you've decided to become a magic maker and walk the spiral road. You've become a fool, a holy fool. Okay? And it may be that you've had a spiritual awakening. I know a lot of people that have been very serious business people and have had a kind of spiritual awakening, and suddenly they leave their job and they just go climb a mountain or something, and it's like, whoa, you know? It doesn't have to be that drastic for you, but it might be. The Ace of Cups in the shadow position is no longer in the shadows because the Hermit has gone into the shadow and has found the Ace of Cups. This is what you've been avoiding your whole life, or either out of necessity or out of fear or out of some kind of, the safety of being under the thumb of the Emperor, and it's felt more secure over here. Whatever reason, this is what you've been avoiding. This is something that's been long neglected. It's been hidden down here in the shadows because you've been living under the Emperor energy, okay? But now, this is what's important to you, and you're no longer hiding this away. This is what you really, truly want in life. This is who you are deep down in your essence. You don't have to bury this in the vault of echoes, okay? It's ready for you to embrace it, and you are embracing it. Now, in the position of the mirage, position 9, it's the illusion. This is the fear. And the fear is that you are not capable of walking this spiral road. This is the Princess of Swords, air energy, right? This is the white belt. This is somebody that doesn't know the answers. Okay? This is somebody that needs to give themselves permission to fail. It's kind of like the Emperor saying, how dare you go and walk your own path, you fool, you'll never make it. You don't know what it's like out there. You're never going to be successful. You don't have what it takes, right? So self-doubt, self-deprecation, right? But also the fear that you're not capable of learning anything new. It's almost like you've been the Emperor for so long, I don't know how to do anything else. Or I've been giving my power over to a tyrant for so long that I don't know how to take it back. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or how to choose, or what things to choose, or how to function, That's the mirage, that's the lie. If you believe in it, it has power. If you believe that you're not capable of learning and growing and starting anything new, it's kind of like, when we get to a certain age, like my grandmother, she's like 96 years old now, still trying to get her on the internet. But she's basically says, Polly, I don't think, she calls me Polly. She says, Polly, I don't think I can learn that. I'm too old to learn that. I don't know it. I don't know how to do it. And, if she doesn't want to, I'm not going to push her. Look, she's 96 years old. She can do whatever she wants. But, it's not impossible. And so this becomes then the lie that we tell ourselves. This is the mirage. It's too hard. I can't learn it. I don't know the answer. I try to do it. I'm going to fail at it. Well, yeah. Anytime you try to do something new, you're probably not going to be good at it right away. We've got to give ourselves a little bit of slack. We've got to give ourselves a little bit of leeway, a little bit of permission, okay, to try something new, to be the fool. With this brand new Excalibur sword, you're a brand new knight. Well, what is a princess? A page, right? What is a page? A squire. What is a squire? A knight in training. You're not expected to be perfect. You just got your armor. You just got your sword. You're going to have to figure out how to use it and stuff, how to travel that road. You're going to be perfect at it. So the mirage, the illusion, the lie, is that this is an obstacle for you. The lie is this should prevent you from doing from making this transition or believing that you're capable of having this adventure that the fool is setting out on. The lie is that you can't do it. The lie is that you're not capable of learning how to do it. Okay, or that, this is the only thing you know, and you can't learn new skills. You can't learn new concepts or ideas, and yeah, maybe it gets harder the older we get. The more years I wait, the less likely it'll be that I'll ever really get good at math, but I still could. It's for language, even language. Let's think of it that way. When you're young, the languages come quickly. I don't know, my daughter, she's getting ready to learn Spanish. She wants to learn Chinese. She's already really good at English, knows more words than I do. at a young age, it's easier to learn new things. The older we get, of course, it's more difficult to learn a new language. I'm still trying to learn Spanish. It's not impossible, okay? But it does sometimes take more work. But the illusion, the mirage, the lie, is that should be that simple fact, that learning is hard, that's not an excuse not to do this. Whatever this is, whatever new trick you're trying to learn, whatever this spiral road is, whether it's a complete life change across the board, or if it's saying, hey, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to learn a new skill. I want to learn scuba diving. Okay, well, it's hard. I want to learn scuba diving. It's hard. You got to figure it out. This is you putting in the work. This is you writing the next page in the codex. Yeah. This is the story that wants to be written now. This is your destiny. And it's you committing to something else that resonates with your heart, and you're putting in the work, and you've got the cruise control on, and you're traveling that spiral road. You're going to fall down, you're going to get up, you're going to go fast, you're going to go slow. It's going to go uphill, it's going to go downhill. But you're doing it. You're giving it your loyalty. Whether it's your new life, your new persona, your new career, whether it's just a skill or a sport, or you're going to learn the didgeridoo. Whatever it is, this is your steadfast loyalty and your commitment to it. I want to look at the mystery card. I know this is getting pretty long here. Yeah, we're at 50 minutes plus already. I apologize. What is this going to be? I don't know. Maybe a night. Yeah, let's just make it a night. It should be a night. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments. Yeah. Well, it's a Queen of Wands. That's okay, too. Because the Queen of Wands is doing what? Looking at the past. So this is your future self. You're looking back at the past, and you're saying, I'm really, really happy that I committed to this. Okay? And maybe the Queen of Pentacles is looking back at this and thinking, I'm really glad that I got out of this. And the Queen of Wands is saying, I'm really glad that I got into this. Yeah. The queens are always dealing or processing an ending of something. Okay? And the Queen of Pentacles is processing the ending of the spiral that you were on before. Understanding its significance, realizing that you learned a lot of skills there, and that you built up a lot of things in life, and kind of like just reflecting on everything that you've acquired over the years. The Queen of Wands is looking at an ending also, but isn't really processing much about it, just saying, it's over, good, what's next? Yeah. And of course, we also have fire and earth together again. So it's kind of like saying, you can reflect on the life that you've had, and you can have appreciation for it, and you can, you can deal with all the feelings that are there and all that. But make sure that you look forward. Make sure that, I feel like this is kind of us in the middle of that doorway. As you go through that doorway, yeah, you can look back and you can sort of say goodbye, and you can appreciate everything that you've done. You can kind of, whatever you got to do to process that, But with the Queen of Wands, you have to also make sure that you go all the way through the door and you shut that door behind you. Okay? The Queen of Wands is a very clean break and is ready for the future. I think this is extraordinary energy for you. The transmission will continue beyond the gate. In the extended reading, we will cast an I Ching hexagram, we'll draw from the oracles, and we'll open a new cluster of keys from the codex. If you feel called to continue, the path is open. There's a link in the corner. There's one below the video. New transmissions for Taurus on Wednesdays and Sundays, so be sure to receive both. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It aligns your signal with the dove current and ensures your next page in the codex will find you. Leave a comment and let me know where along the spiral road you are watching from. helps us to map the resonance of the temple. I want you to remember you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. The Codex reveals itself through you. And I thank you and I love you. And we are all walking this path together.